Hello friends, this video on unit and measurement is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exams. The topics which we'll cover in this lesson are as Introduction to Unit, the International System of Units, Measurement of Length, Measurement of Mass, Measurement of Time, Accuracy, Precision of Instruments and Errors in Measurement, Significant Figures, Dimensions of Physical Quantities, Dimensional Formula and Dimensional Equations, Dimensional Analysis and its applications. So, let us start with the introduction to unit. What is a unit? Unit is an internationally accepted reference standard to measure a physical quantity. When we talk of physics, we have several physical quantities. So, we need a reference to measure the physical quantity. For example, let us suppose your mom asks you to go to the shop and buy some rice. Now, how would you convey the shopkeeper how much rice you want? So, you need a unit to identify the measurement of the rice. For example, you go to the shopkeeper and you say that you want 5 kg rice. So, kg is an internationally accepted reference which everybody would understand. So, similarly, we have many other units. For example, kilogram to measure mass of any substance, liter to measure volume of any substance, meter to measure distance or length of anything, and many other units like that. If we see, we find that the number of units is comparatively lesser than the number of physical quantities. Why is it so? Because there are many physical quantities which are represented by the same unit. For example, we have a physical quantity work. We have another physical quantity energy. Work and energy are two different physical quantities, but both of them are expressed by the same unit, joule. Similarly, there are many situations where many physical quantities are defined in terms of combination of existing units. For example, we say velocity. Velocity is a physical quantity. Now, the unit which is used to measure velocity is meter per second, where meter is already a unit for length and second is already a unit for time. So, the unit for velocity is derived from already existing units. Therefore, it is observed that because of these kind of constraints, it is observed that the number of units is comparatively lesser than the number of physical quantities. So, what did we study here? What is unit? It is internationally accepted reference to measure a physical quantity. So, let us now discuss the types of unit. Broadly, units are classified into two types: fundamental or base units and derived units. Fundamental units are those units on the basis of which all other units are defined. So there are a total of 7 fundamental units which we will discuss later. Examples of fundamental units are kilogram, meter, second, Kelvin, etc. Similarly, derived units are always derived from fundamental units. That is, their origin is the fundamental unit. Example is meter square. For example, the unit for area is meter square. Now, meter is a fundamental unit, so meter square is a derived unit. Similarly, the unit for volume, that is meter cube, unit for velocity, meter per second, or the unit for density, that is kg per meter cube. They are all derived from the basic units, that is kg, meter and second. Now, these fundamental units plus the derived units together is known as the system of units. So, what did we learn here? Units are classified into two types, fundamental units and derived units. Fundamental units are the basic units from which all other units are derived. Derived units are definitely, they originate from the fundamental units. Fundamental units plus derived units together form the system of units. Now we will discuss SI unit. What is SI? SI stands for System International. SI is a globally accepted system for measurement. What happened was that in earlier days, different parts of the world used different systems of units according to their own convenience. So, it so happened that if people traveled from one part of the world to another, they faced problem communicating with each other regarding units. For example, let us say if you traveled to somewhere in Hong Kong, they used their own. Let us suppose if you had to travel to somewhere in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, they use their own convenience and they use the Hong Kong system of units. So it would be very difficult for you to communicate units there. That is why the scientists together decided to invent a globally accepted system for measurement so that everybody can use the same system for measurement. So then came the SI unit, that is the System International Unit. Now in SI unit, there are two classifications of units, the base units and the derived units, as we already discussed. In SI, there are 7 base units which are defined. And when we talk of derived units, any other unit other than the 7 base units are all derived units. So all other units except the 7 base units, they are all derived units. Note a point here, the two units radian and steradian. These two units were given special importance before, but now they are treated as derived units because many people have confusion. They say that radian and steradian, they are base units, but actually they are derived units. Well, what is radian? Radian is the unit to measure angle, angular measure. And steradian is the unit to measure solid angle. Okay, so this was just a piece of information for you that radian and steradian are nothing but they are derived units. So now we will see what are the 7 base units in SI system. Okay, so the 7 base units are meter, which is the unit for length, kilogram, the unit for mass, second, the unit for time, ampere, the unit for electric current, Kelvin, the unit of temperature, mole, the unit for amount of a substance, and candela, that is the unit for luminous intensity. Now, other than these units, any other unit that comes to your mind is derived from these units. So have a clear look to the 7 base units so that you remember them properly, because it will be used later in many of our calculations. Thank you. Visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thanks once again.